Hello and welcome to the news at 7 on NTA International. I am Comfort Amodu with the news, and we begin with the headlines. Federal government set to introduce COVID-19 vaccines assures Nigerians of safety and efficacy. Nigerian military receives a pat on the back for their commitment towards the protection of the country from internal and external threats. And Seychelles becomes first country in Africa to start COVID-19 vaccinations. Our federal government has assured Nigerians that COVID-19 vaccines that will be brought into the country are safe and effective and will be administered to Nigerians for free. The Executive Director, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Faisal Shaibu, who said this in Abuja, observed that about 70% of Nigerians are being prioritized for the vaccination in 2021 and 2022 to reduce mortality and interrupt COVID-19 transmission in the country. Details with Basi Ita.
Outbreak of COVID-19 in the country in February 2020, the federal government has initiated several strategies to stop the spread of the virus and keep Nigerians safe. But the second wave of the virus is spreading too fast, with an increase in the number of confirmed cases across the country on a daily basis. To further ensure safety of Nigerians from this pandemic is the need to introduce COVID-19 vaccines in the country, just as it is done in other countries.
We have the responsibility to actually convey the right information and create awareness around the vaccines, around COVID-19.
The federal government, mindful of myths and misconceptions surrounding COVID-19 vaccines, set up a technical committee of experts from the health sector to study and scrutinize the type of vaccine that is safe for Nigerians.
A lot of work is going on to ensure that this happens, that the vaccines that will come in would be safe and effective.
In a virtual meeting with journalists in Abuja, the committee said the federal government has put everything in place to ensure the vaccines are properly preserved within the required temperature and will be monitored and guarded for accountability. The vaccine, which will be administered in 4 phases based on vaccine type and availability, will give priority to frontline workers across the 36 states and the FCT based on WHO guidelines once the first 100,000 doses of vaccine expected to arrive in the country this January are received. Basi Taikpan, NTA News.
And the World Health Organization says no fewer than 42 countries are already rolling out the various COVID-19 vaccines which have been cleared for use. 36 are in high-income nations. WHO's Director General Dr. Tedros made this known during the COVID-19 news conference at WHO headquarters in Geneva. He said he also emphasized equitable distribution of the vaccines and observed that there's a clear problem that low and most middle-income countries are not receiving the vaccines yet. He further said the vaccinations will save lives, stabilize health systems, and will lead to a truly global income recovery that stimulates job creation. And now with me to talk more on the COVID-19 vaccine to be brought into Nigeria is the Director, Disease Control and Immunization, Dr. Basi Oposen. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, Nigerians.
All right, you're welcome. Now, first of all, how safe are these vaccines, considering the fact that it took a shorter period to produce the vaccine, under 1 year to be precise, when it took 5 to 10 years to come up with other vaccines like yellow fever and polio? Is the standard not being compromised?
Just to reassure Nigerians that the vaccines to be used are very safe and effective. In the 60s, it would take about 6 months to go by ship to England. Today, in 6 hours, you are in England. In those days, we will line up around 4 a.m. to speak to somebody in the US. The comfort of our bedrooms, we can speak easily. The technologies have advanced. Remember, the COVID virus is of the SARS family, and during the flu pandemic, vaccines were developed, and there is some basis. So the scientists are not starting from 0 points, but building on what has been done before. And all the vaccines in use currently have passed the WHO pre-qualification test, and any vaccine to be used in Nigeria will also have to go through NAFDAC before it can be used.
All right, there are some myths and misconceptions surrounding the COVID-19 vaccine, especially concerning DNA. How can you convince Nigerians on the safety of these vaccines?
Like I mentioned earlier, Nigerians, your president loves you, your minister, your executive director, Dr. Faisal, all of us at the agency, our NCDC, NAFDAC, partners, WHO, UNICEF, and the rest in country, they love us all. Those vaccines pass through 5 basic stages of trials before they are pre-qualified. From the early stage where I have heard some say, oh, they are bringing the vaccine to try in Nigeria. No, the vaccines to be used in Nigeria have already been tried and certified fit for human use. So coming into Nigeria, they are very, very safe for Nigerians to receive.
Okay, I understand that the vaccines are meant to save lives, but are there any kind of side effect to this COVID-19 vaccine? And do people have the choice to either decide to take or refuse to take the vaccine?
I will advise Nigerians it's safe to take. You know, it's like we have, if I want to go to Lokoja, there are vehicles that can take us to Lokoja, and somebody decides to say, I want to trek to Lokoja. In this age where there are vehicles, for us humans, once infected, we can develop herd immunity. But it will take like 10 years for a community, for a nation to develop herd immunity when nothing is done. The vaccines to be administered to Nigerians will help fast-track the herd immunity that we need to interrupt transmission. So for Nigerians, I would just advise us, the president loves, like I said earlier, the minister, the executive director, the professor, we want all of us to stay safe and fulfill our dreams. Those vaccines to come in, researches have been done, and we reassure Nigerians they are safe for use.
So
like
you're saying that you're actually saying that it's not compulsory?
It will not be compulsory, but we are pleading with Nigerians. See it as a safe tool. You said earlier, 42 countries are already taking the vaccines. There are many, so we have not, you see, ordinary paracetamol that people take, there are some people, if they take paracetamol, it gives them, instead of even helping their pains, it causes some other reaction. There are people that the things that are being reported, sometimes the things we say in the social media, it could be a coincidence. But these vaccines have been well researched and they are safe for use before WHO could pre-qualify them for use.
Okay, so is the vaccine a lifelong thing or is just for a period of time?
You know, for most of the vaccines that are available currently, remember this is the first time these vaccines are coming out. So there are still researches going on to see the durability of the vaccine. And from the information is available, once somebody is vaccinated, it generates the immunity in the person. And when the person is infected with the coronavirus of any of the strains, because there are already antibodies in the system, it will help the individual to fight the infection and prevent possible morbidity and mortality from it. So it's safe that we take the vaccine, develop some antibodies inside us that will be able to fight the infection at any point that the person is infected.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Bassi, for shedding more light on the safety of COVID-19 vaccines.
Thank you. Thank you, Nigerians. Please Stay safe and receive the vaccines when you see them.
All right, thank you very much. And World Health Organization says the COVID-19 global pandemic will continue for at least one more year. This is just as Seychelles become first country in Africa to start COVID-19 vaccinations. Justin Bemunyi will give us details of these on Global Update and other stories from the globe.
The World Health Organization has forecast that the global coronavirus pandemic is set to last for at least another year and maybe even longer. WHO's David Nabarro indicated that coronavirus cases are surging across several continents and that widespread vaccination is key to overcoming the pandemic. The World Health Organization's special envoy added that world leaders must relentlessly work together to stop the spread of COVID-19 globally. Concerning this, world tally of COVID-19 surpassed the 90 million mark and also registered over more than 1.9 million deaths and around 64.6 million recoveries till 10th January. Out of these numbers, Nigerian authorities say the country has recorded 99,063 cases. In the meantime, the island nation of Seychelles has become the first country in Africa to roll out its COVID-19 vaccination campaign, with the country's political leaders and health workers taking the vaccine on Sunday. President Wavel Ramkalawan, who said he wanted to lead by example by being the first, followed by the vice president, with a cabinet of ministers and members of the National Assembly, were the first ones to take the Sinopharm vaccine. Health workers also received the vaccine at the campaign launched at the headquarters of the Ministry of Health at the Seychelles Hospital. The ministry described the vaccination rollout as a crucial step in responding to the pandemic, and which adds a layer of protection in addition to wearing masks, physical and social distance, and maintaining proper hygiene. Seychelles has 50,000 doses of the vaccine. The entire population of the archipelago island nation is to be vaccinated on a voluntary basis. In other news, government officials from Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan are once again holding talks in a bid to try to resolve a long-running dispute triggered by the construction of a huge dam on the River Nile. In July last year, the reservoir of the hydroelectric dam in west of Ethiopia started filling with water, despite the breakdown of talks between the three countries. The Addis Ababa government is determined to provide electricity for its population, and we also export power. But Egypt is concerned that during years of drought, its water supply will be greatly reduced. Sudan has warned Ethiopia not to proceed with the second stage of filling the dam before an agreement is reached. In the meantime, thousands of Israelis have restarted protests against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, calling on the long-serving leader to resign over corruption charges against him and his mishandling of the coronavirus pandemic. Demonstrators were pictured in Jerusalem on Saturday night holding placards calling on Netanyahu to go and let my people go. The protests took place near the Prime Minister's residence as the country continues to vaccinate its population in the middle of its third national pandemic lockdown. Thank you for watching. I'm Justin Bemunyi.
And still on the foreign scene, the U.S. is lifting long-standing restrictions on contacts between American and Taiwanese officials. The Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, says the self-imposed restrictions were introduced decades ago to appease the mainland Chinese government, stressing that the rules are now null and void. This comes as Trump administration enters its final days ahead of the inauguration of Joe Biden as president on 20th of January 2021. And meanwhile, the Biden transition team says the president-elect is committed to maintaining the previous U.S. policy towards Taiwan. Analysts say the move could be reversed by Pompeo's successor, Antony Blinken. And back home, the Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma has commended the Nigerian military for their commitment towards the protection of the country from internal and external threats. He made this known at the interdenominational church service to mark this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day in Owerri. Bright Egbuchu reports.
The special church service is held to honor the souls of military personnel who paid the supreme sacrifice in defense of their fatherland. The officiating Reverend Brigadier General Charles Iwebu, in his sermon, admonishes Nigerians to live in peace and harmony, as without it, there can be no meaningful growth and development.
When you go around our country, you see that we have about, in the 36 states of the Federation, we have about 32 states where the military is involved in this campaign of peace and against criminality. And that brings about 89% of coverage of the whole country.
Governor Hope Uzodimma, who took the second Bible reading, commended the Nigerian armed forces for relentlessly defending the nation, stating that the progress so far recorded in the fight against insurgency in the Northeast is due to their sacrifice. NTA News.
And you are watching the news on NTA International, reaching you live from Abuja. We'll take a short break now. More stories in a moment.
What limits you? Nothing. Who defined you? No one. Where can you go? Everywhere. With unlimited super-fast internet access, free Intel-to-Intel calls, and crystal-clear quality conversations, you can do and be whatever you want to be. Intel. Live more.
Dialogue, empathy, love, and unity. These are vital components of nation building.
For all to be well, we appeal that we should refrain from volatile, provocative, inciting messages and language.
Let's build and not destroy.
Welcome back. And the federal government public works project has been flagged off in more states. Mayor Ogidi reports.
Labour Minister Chris Ngige, laboring for the good of the youths in Anambra State. It is the flagging off of the Special Public Works Program, 1,000 youths from the 21 local government areas, equipped with the needed tools to keep public infrastructure and environment clean.
We want to use this as a stopgap measure to absorb the teeming army of unemployed youths.
Instead of staying at home, doing nothing, at least with this I'll be able to go out. Nobody will say I'm gossiping at home.
As the senior minister goes to clean the drainages in Anambra State, the junior minister Festus Keyamo goes to farm in Delta, all in demonstration of the public works program. But keeping the women busy to feed the homes occupies the minister's heart.
I always beg my state selection people, I always beg the state directors of ND, please give women more slots. I will beg now. The women will manage this money more than the men.
Properly kitted against COVID-19, 27,000 beneficiaries of the program welcomed the Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, to commence the exercise in Jigawa State.
The emergence of the novel COVID-19 pandemic, the President and Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari, directed the Economic Sustainability Committee under the chairmanship of the Vice President, Professor Ide Osinbajo, to craft economic measures to cushion the adverse socio-economic effects of the COVID-19 pandemic.
The unprecedented social intervention programs in this country
is so remarkable, so big, that we have not seen the type.
In Kwara State, with about 1 billion naira set for the program, the selection process was reportedly all-encompassing because women, youths, and the physically challenged made the list.
More, because with the little I'm going to earn, I will add it to my business.
In Ibadan, a representative of the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, symbolically flagged off the youth-friendly program with words of excitement and determination in excess.
All the tools and equipment required are provided. Hence, the federal government expects strong commitment from all stakeholders in ensuring efficient implementation.
The federal government Special Public Works Program has its presence in all the 774 local government areas across the country and will last for 3 months. Mayor Ogidi, NT News.
And as part of complementing government's effort at ensuring inmates get improved welfare, a non-governmental organization under the auspices of Blessed Hope Foundation has donated relief materials worth several millions of naira to the Nigerian Correctional Service Facility in Suleja. The relief items, which comprises of food and toiletries, according to the organization, is to give hope to the hopeless, as well as express love and care for the downtrodden. Coordinator of the foundation, Titilayo Ebo, says aside the donation, they also render pro bono services as well as pay fines for inmates who cannot afford it.
You are not yet a blessing if you cannot bless people. You can't call yourself a blessing, and it doesn't mean that you should have billions before you are able to do that. Even you can give your last to give hope to the hopeless. So we render pro bono services. We pay fines for people that doesn't have.
Applauding the gesture from the organization, Assistant Controller General of the Correction Service, Suleja Custodian Center, Abdurrahman Musa, assured that they will make judicious use of the items.
To invite some of the sales provosts so that we can share this thing according to sales. We will count each cell and give the items equally to the number of the inmates that are inside, because it's being brought for their use. So we have to serve them first.
The foundation was established in 2007. And in compliance with the directives of federal government on the harmonization of citizens' data, which the Federal Road Safety Corps has since commenced with the introduction of compulsory provision of the National Identification Number named by applicants of the National Driver's License. The Corps Marshal FRSC, Dr. Boboye Oyemi, has also made provision of name mandatory for all categories of vehicle registration effective from second quarter of 2021. And this is in total compliance with the presidential directives. All applicants of vehicle registration are therefore expected to present their national identification number as a precondition for the registration of their vehicles, adding that there would be no waiver for anyone irrespective of their status in the society. And goods and property worth billions of naira were consumed by fire Sunday morning at popular Kugbo Furniture Market along Nyanya Abuja Road. Abdullahi Ajia reports that the combined efforts of the firefighters spent several hours to contain the devastating fire.
Kugbo remains one of the popular furniture markets in the nation's capital, Abuja, flourishing in this business for many decades. Sunday morning fire at the market, whose cause is yet to be ascertained, is one unfortunate disaster that has left deep traders and businessmen in shock as they are still counting their losses with nothing to salvage.
I saw one man, he wanted to jump into the fire. I didn't know what to do. I'm pleading to the federal government, please, come and help our people, please. Many of them, their money is gone, their source of livelihood is gone. The fire was too much.
One of my warehouses We offloaded, it's not quite long, we offloaded 40 feet worth of more than 40-something million. Everything burned down.
If government can provide us fire service station and give us government security, all this will come to control, because people here, sometimes when marketers are gone, the enemy will come and put the fire.
Industrial machines, all my small machines, all the goods I bought that I will use for this January, all of them got burnt.
Inflammables and combustibles at the market were said to have aggravated the fire that took combined firefighters from NEMA, FEMA, Fire Service, the military, among others, and the market guards several hours to put off.
We started using chemical foam so that we can blanket the fire. And that is the chemical foam we use that make this fire to be up to this very level. But you see, there is a pocket of fire. They are still fighting. Our men are still fighting over there.
Fire service, well, they try. Almost 5 or 6 of them we are here. Both 6 of the truck we are here.
The traders are appealing to governments and corporate organizations to come to their rescue, considering the enormity of the disaster. Abdullahi Ajia, NTA News.
And in Bauchi State, 20 people feared dead in a fatal motor accident along Taruwan-Maiduguri Road in Bauchi State. The accident involving a Toyota Hummer bus of Borno Express coming from Jos Plateau State and a Golf 3 wagon said to be coming from Kari in Bauchi State occurred at about 11 a.m. today. Eyewitness account revealed that the accident happened when the driver of the Hummer bus tried to dodge a tricycle and suddenly collided with the Toyota Golf and incidentally caught fire. Hoodlums numbering over 50 have attacked Unweke police station in Eza South Council area of Ebonyi State, killing 3 policemen and injuring 2 others. Police Public Relations Officer Ebonyi State Command DCP Lovett Order confirmed this to our reporter Chinaza John.
Which is unprovoked, happened when one of the hoodlums came to the division on Friday night with the pretense of laying a complaint, only for others to suddenly open fire on policemen, killing some of them and setting some of the police properties on fire.
While they were busy listening to him, his story, what was happening in his house as he claimed that he'd been attacked, the 2 in his back opened fire, started shooting at the policemen, and more than 50, or according to them, 70 of them trooped into the police station. It was already an anarchy, and 3 policemen were shot to death. There is 2 inspectors and 1 sergeant.
DSP Lovett Order further stated that thorough investigation is on to unravel issues surrounding the attack, stressing that normalcy has, however, returned to the area, while some arrests have also been made.
The leaders of the area were surprised because there was no, it is unprovoked. There was no issue, which means it's not just I don't call it it's faceless people, that is hoodlums, criminals that did that. Investigation is seriously going. The Commissioner of Police have also vowed to do everything within his power, I'm talking about within the ambit of the law, to ensure that the perpetrators are brought to book.
4 vehicles parked at the station, including the DPO's office, were set ablaze by the hoodlums, while 2 AK-47 rifles were carted away during the incident. In Abakaliki, Chinaza John, NTA News.
And that report concludes the news at 7 on NTA International. And before we go, remember to connect with NTA against rape and rapists. I'm Comfort Amadu. Good evening.